Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video we are going to be talking about how I would build a Honda Civic EG. Specifically the hatch EG, but most of these mods would also fit onto a coupe EG, obviously besides like the spoiler, because there is a spoiler in this, so that won't fit on a coupe or a sedan because it's a hatchback, and so it has a completely different rear end. But yeah, we're specifically talking about the hatch, but again, this fits for any EG out there. A couple disclaimers before we get into this video. Yes, Alex Martini did this first. He did these ideas of his videos where he does like how to modify this car, how to modify that car on his channel, so please go check it out. It's called Martini Works. I love it. I love his channel. I'm not stealing from him if that's what you guys are going to try and say. I'm not stealing his content. I'm just giving my own twist on it, and I want that to be clear that I support that guy, and I think you guys should too, but I just wanted to give my own twist on it. I hope nobody gets offended or anything like that. Also, this isn't really like a guide, it's just how I would personally build it. You know, I don't have any actual experience owning an EG Civic, so I can't 100% tell you like this is exactly what you should do. I want to make that clear. I feel like some people are going to watch this and be like, okay, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. No, I've never owned an EG Civic. It's just how I would personally build it if I did own an EG Civic, okay? And the last but not least, if you want to see another car be built by me, leave a comment below. That's how I get these recommendations. If you leave a comment is how I will make the video. I'm not going to make the video unless you leave a comment saying it. So if you want to see a car, leave a comment down below. Also, last thing before we get into the video, if you care about my life and what I personally do with my cars and stuff like that, stay until the end because I want to talk to you guys about that. But without further ado, let's go right into the video, not a list. All right, so EG Civic. Now, the way this works is I go over everything that I want to buy on the car, how much the car's gonna cost, and then I also tell you the total of each thing. That way you guys would understand like how much it would actually cost to actually build Mark Roden's perfect EG Civic. So now I scoured the old Facebook marketplaces to look for a nice EG Civic platform so I could build it. And the cost of the car, I would say would be around $4,000. I found a nice couple of EG Civics out there for 4K, so I think that's a good starting point. 4K for the car. Also, you don't, when you're buying like an old Civic like this, you really don't care about its like mileage or anything like that. So we'll get a higher mileage one. It'll be fine. Anyway, let's get into the exterior, then we'll go into the interior, then the performance. First up for the exterior is I found a front lip on eBay that I thought looked really cool. Here's a picture of it. I would put it on there. It's 145 bucks. Hootenanny. Next is this company called Inspire Uplift, which makes side skirts for $275, and they also make the rear wing that I would want for $210, which is both really good. I mean, I'm trying to buy a Q50 right now, and I've been looking at parts for those cars much more expensive than that, so that's really nice. Next is hood risers. I know this is going to sound stupid, but I love when Civics have the little hood risers on there. It's 15 bucks, super easy mod. They do it for airflow. That's the reason why they put those hood risers on there, but I would just do it because I think it would look good. You know, so I'd put that bad boy on there. 15 bucks. No tints. Normally on these how to build videos, I actually do include tints, but I want to do it on the Civic. The same reason why I didn't do it on my Integra. I think these cars look better with no tints. I know it sounds stupid, and everybody's going to be like, every car looks good with tints. Personally, I disagree. I think some cars just don't look good tinted. Because they're not like an aggressive car, you know, so they don't need to look aggressive. And I feel like tints make a car look more aggressive than it is. And with an EG Civic, it just doesn't need that, in my opinion. I mean, that's obviously all my opinion. This is why I said in the beginning that this is just how I would build it, not how I recommend you build it. If you want tints, put tints on your damn car. It doesn't matter. I just wouldn't put it on this car personally. Next is the wheels and tire package. Our NK RPF ones, simple, but they look so good on classic Civics. They're $1,000 for a set of 4 of them. Absolutely would buy them. I know RPF ones are just basic wheels that everybody puts on their cars, but there's a freaking reason for that. They look good, man. They like on an EG Civic, RPF ones look great, so I would absolutely put them on there. And then since this is a Civic and I would obviously want to rip around in corners, I would kind of cash out a little bit on some more expensive tires. So we're looking at like $1,000 for tires. Normally I'm not spending that much. I mean, I'm trying to find a deal on Facebook Marketplace for tires for like 500 bucks. That's what I usually do for my cars. But for a Civic, I'm dropping some bigger bucks on it. So that gives us a grand total of $2,645 for the exterior. Obviously I didn't really go that crazy with the exterior because I don't think Hondas need that much to look good. Like my Integra has a wing on it, some rear little spats on it, a front lip on it, and that's literally it. Like that's all you really need on old Hondas, in my opinion, to make them look good on the exterior. So that's what I would do for this EG. All right, but now we're into the interior. In the interior, you know, you gotta put some stuff on there. First up is I would 100% just fully gut the interior. You're not Nowadays, EG Civics are to the point where they're not really the best daily driver for their price. If you're dropping 4K on a Honda, you could very easily find like an 8th gen or especially a 7th gen with much less miles, much more reliable, a much better interior. So obviously, I wouldn't, if I did buy an EG Civic and build it up, it obviously would not be my daily driver. It would be like a fun track car. So I would 100% gut the interior. I wouldn't have to worry about driving it every day with a gutted interior because that would be nightmare fuel. But it would be a race car, so I would gut it 100%. That's obviously completely free. Just rip everything out. It's pretty simple. Next up would be the short throw shifter. These Hondas need a short throw shifter. If you buy a Honda from the 90s, early 2000s with a manual transmission, get your oh my god, I test drove a 6th gen Civic. It was just a 6th gen coupe Civic, not an SI, just a base model coupe. And oh my god, it was the longest gears known. I felt like I was shifting a bus. It was insane. It only costs $100. Buy one. It's an absolute lifesaver. Next up is NRG racing seats. You gotta have some racing seats. This is a small car. I'm a tall guy. The seats are not going to hold me in place. I'm going to be falling around. It's like it's a roller coaster every time I go around a corner in this thing. So I would buy some NRG racing seats. It's $1,100 for a pair of 2 of them. You could even make that even cheaper if you just get one, because obviously you're the only one that needs the racing seat, but I would want to make it look pretty, obviously, so I would buy both for $1,100. Next is the NRG quick release wheel and hub. This I'm not one of those guys that go out there and be like, hey, you just bought a 350Z, okay, immediately buy a quick release steering wheel and hub. But as you're going to see further on in this video, we are going to take the necessary requirements to make sure that we're safe if we do get into an accident, NRG quick release wheel and hub is $400. Now, obviously, again, when you put an NRG quick release on there, it does take away from the safety. You no longer have airbags. You got to watch out for that if you get into an accident. So in return, you need at least 4-point racing harness. You can go 5-point. You can go, I don't even know if they have 6-point, but you could do that if you want, which I found one by a company called HPI, which is a 4-point racing harness for $300. I think that's great for your safety. You really can't put a price on that. So even if this thing costed $700, I'd still buy it. Also, you need to now be able to mount that racing harness onto something that's going to stay on the car. And so we're going to buy a little half cage, not a full roll cage, because if you buy a full roll cage, you bump your head off the roll cage, it's going to hurt your noggin. You're going to go get CTE like you're an NFL player. So we're just going to get a half cage. It costs $550. Again, you can't put a price on safety, and on top of that, half cage is decent, man. If you're tracking and you roll over, even if you have all the safety requirements necessary, get yourself a damn half cage. There's some videos of people, I mean, I know it's not a Miata, but there's videos of people out there crashing a Miata, their head gets crushed. You need something like that in these older cars. They're just not, their bodies just aren't built for stuff like that. So just get yourself a damn half cage, $550, racing harness, quick release wheel and hub. Now you got the whole setup. Your interior is looking nice. You look like you got your goddamn race car, baby. That's it for interior though. That's a total of $2,450 for the interior, by the way. So far we're at a price of $4,000 for the car, $2,645 for the exterior, and $2,450 for the interior. We're gonna make that very simple on ourselves and say that the exterior actually cost $2,650, even though it was $45, just so the math is a lot easier, which puts us at a grand total of, I did not do this math beforehand, so give me 1 second, $3,100, $5,100, $9,100 so far, and that is not including the performance. Let's get into the performance. So this is where I would 100% put most of the build's money into. Performance on these Hondas is cheap as hell, and they make a big difference. So first up is obviously a turbo. I would go with a CX Racing full turbo kit for this car. Costs $1,050. That's the full kit, man. All piping, all intercooler, everything for this car for $1,050. This is what these Civics are stupidly cheap. Everything about them is stupidly cheap. So I would buy that. Now you've got a boosted EG. Can't go wrong there. Obviously, I know, by the way, people are going to be like, well, what about an engine swap? We're not going that crazy, okay? If I really wanted to do that, I could be like, yeah, K-Series swap, all this stuff. We're just going to keep the stock motor in there. We're gonna build the motor. I think it's a D series. We're going with a D series, man. We're gonna give it a shot. Next up is the Yonaka catback exhaust. Yonaka is actually a relatively decent brand, a reputable brand, I would say. A lot of people talk a lot of good stuff about Yonaka within the Honda community. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, by the way. And it's only $400 for a catback exhaust. Like, give me a break, buddy. These things are cheap as hell. You might as well just work at McDonald's. You can afford to build like a whole race car Civic. It's insane. Next up is a 1500cc fuel injectors. Just because, you know, you got to support that turbo, man. You got a lot of air going in there. You're gonna need a lot of fuel going in there. 1500cc, I feel like is plenty. $300. Count me in. count me in, buddy. Obviously, it's not the biggest performance gain, just fuel injectors, but it's gonna keep your engine running healthy. And on top of that, you got to keep up with your turbo, man. If you're adding so much air in there, and then you got stock fuel injectors, your fuel's gonna be like duh, 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 trying to get fuel in there because you got so much air going in. So give me some fuel injectors. Next up is coilovers. I'm gonna cheap out on this. I'm gonna go with max speeding rods. They've given me coilovers for my Z. They've given me coilovers for my Integra. I've had coilovers from this company on both my cars. I will admit, on the Z, they did end up giving me some issues. Integra has been perfectly fine this whole time. I've been running them for like a year and a half now, and they've been great. I really like them. They're only $400. I know some people are going to be like, well, why not like spend a couple extra money on some better coilovers? I don't know what you mean by better, because again, I've driven cars with BC Racing coilovers, and I've also had my cars with max speeding rods coilovers. I can't tell the difference, so like, I'm just gonna go with max speeding rods here. $400, I like them. Next is True Heart lower control arms, $350 for both the front and the rear, which is awesome. And it does that little thing. You know, ever been behind a Honda and you can see the control arms underneath the car and it looks sick? You know it looks sick. We all do. And it looks really, really cool. That's what do too. So I'm definitely doing that bad boy. $350 for that too. And it's a massive difference in obviously its handling potential out there too. So that's another big thing. I'm doing it. Next is the Blocks Racing Big Brake Kit. I don't know anything about Blocks Racing, so I'm sorry if this is like the worst brand ever made. I saw them they made a big brake kit for EG Civics. I bought it. Obviously, with a bunch of power going to this car, you're gonna want to stop better. So you get yourself a big brake kit. It's $450. It's almost as much as it costs to change the brakes to OEM brakes on a regular car. $450, like come on. And you got a big brake kit. That's great. It's $2,950 for the total of my performance things. And I don't know exact numbers, but like, dude, turbo, exhaust, better fuel injectors, that's all you need. I mean, yes, you could go like, oh, cold air intake, you could do this. No, man, I'm just doing this, okay? And that's plenty. And again, these cars are light. I already gutted the interior before, remember? So this car's gonna be quick, man. I feel like this is gonna be a quick little car. And that's a total of $2,950 for all the performance parts, by the way. Now we're just gonna get into the small things real quick. We'll just go over these really quickly. A rear windshield wiper delete. I do this on all my cars. I did it on my Integra, I did it on my Z. I just don't think that these older cars need the rear windshield. I mean, I never look out the rear windshield that much. People run louvers on their cars and it's perfectly fine. It's $50. I think it just looks a little bit better. A smaller antenna, same thing. I think it just looks a little bit better, $25. These antennas from the 90s and 2000s are like a radio tower on the back of your car. So might as well get a smaller one. $25 is not that bad. And that gives us a total for the small things of $75, which means that the total for all the mods to the car is $8,120, and the total with the car is obviously now $12,120. So you could build in my opinion, my perfect EG Civic for a grand total of $12,120. That is insane. God bless early 90s, early 2000s Hondas, man. Why are they so cheap? This is for anybody out there that's like a Euro guy or an American muscle guy. This is why we love Japanese sports cars, because 12 grand to fully buy and build your perfect representation of a car that you enjoy is like impossible in the European or American muscle community. It's just not possible to do it, and you could still do that with the EG Civic. God bless. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video on how to build an EG Civic hatch. But again, most of these mods will carry over to the coupe or sedan platforms. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Obviously, let me know what other cars you want to see me build in the future. I saw somebody say Cadillac CTS, which is actually really unique. And he didn't say CTS-V, he just said CTS, which is really unique. I have never even looked into those cars at all. Actually, do you want to know the most experience I have with this Cadillac CTS? The fact that yesterday I drove like by a Cadillac CTS and he pulled up next to me at a stoplight and was like, "You think this is funny, huh?" And I was like, "Whoa, what are you talking about?" And I guess I was tailgating him and he was really mad. That's all the experience I have with Cadillac CTSs. That's it right there. That the owners of them get a little angry sometimes. I wasn't even tailgating the guy. I know exactly where I was. We were in stop and go traffic, so obviously I was kind of close to him, but not like tailgating him. He was so mad. Big thing. But anyway, if you watched until this point, you probably care about my personal life and what I'm doing. If you don't, click off this video right now. If you do, I want to talk to you guys about my next car. I've been really looking into Infiniti Q50s. Before this, I wanted a BMW 340i F30 so much, but the price of those is around, like, I would say 20K to realistically probably $25,000. And while I could technically afford to like finance that, I don't want to I personally have a decent time building my credit with just credit cards, and so I really just do not want to finance a car. I'm not saying that's a bad thing if you are doing that. I'm not saying that. I totally understand the appeal behind financing a car. It makes sense, but for me, I just don't want to. I don't want that extra bit of stress on me. So I've been looking at other cars like a little bit cheaper. Not even that though. Even if it was like, I really wouldn't have that big of an issue, is what I'm trying to say. Even if I did have to finance a car, I'd be fine with that. But I was just looking, I was just scouring a little bit, being like, is there any way that I could buy a car that I would still love to own for significantly less than that? And the Q50, I would love to own, man. I've been looking at builds of them. I think they look great. The 3.0T is the one I would get, not the 3.7. I know the VQ37 is more reliable, but the VR30 is just really cool. I really like that idea that, like, oh, you have like a watered down GTR motor in there. That'd be cool as hell. And it would be my first ever like turbo car, which would be cool too. It's a sedan, which is a big thing. Like, I really wanted the Audi A5 8T. I really liked those cars. I thought they were really good, but they were a coupe, and I really want a sedan because I like to drive people around. It makes me happy. I like to be the driver. I don't know. I just enjoy doing it. So I wanted a sedan. I haven't had a sedan for quite some time. Ever since I sold the PT Cruiser, I haven't had 4 doors, and so I wanted a sedan again. The Q50 is a sedan. The other option was a WRX, a Raptor-i WRX. But where I'm from, I live in Connecticut, and if you live in the New England area, you understand. Everybody drives WRXs. Everyone under the sun has a WRX. There's just too many of them out there. I just got bored. I'm not saying they're bad cars at all. They're not. They are a good option if you are into Japanese cars and you live up in the New England area. They are a good option for you. But I just got a little bit bored of them. That's all. I just really didn't like. They don't appeal to me, is all I'm trying to say. And the Q50 is all-wheel drive, which is good for me because I live in Connecticut, so I could drive it in the winter. Obviously, it does have power potential too. It's not like it's like another thing with the Audi A5 is that even if I did buy it, it really doesn't have that much power potential. Even with the turbo inline 4 model, it doesn't really have much out there. So I could build this one and actually get power out of it. I think they look good. They're reliable, decently reliable at least. They're a newer car, so the interior is nice and updated and stuff like that. It costs like, instead of like the 20 to 25,000, it's like 10 to 15,000 for a nice Q50 with pretty low miles. Like, I don't know, it's checking all the boxes, so I'm really thinking about it. I've been messaging this one guy about his. He's 3 hours away from me in Pennsylvania. I'm really thinking about going down there and picking it up. But let me know what you guys think. Do you really want to see the 340i BMW, or would you rather see a Q50, or would you rather see a completely different car? Keep in mind, I'm not going to buy like a 90s JDM car as my next car because I've daily driven that Integra for a year. I daily drove the Z for quite some time, and while I do love those cars, daily driving them sucks, especially the Integra because I'm a tall guy. You feel cramped all the time. It's just not that fun, especially not when you have people in your family or friends that have nice new cars, and you get in the interior and it's like spacious and nice and comfortable, has all this nice interior going on, and you hop back in your 90s Japanese car and it's like really outdated interior. It's just not the best feeling daily driving it every day. I want something newer, something with a nice interior, feels nice and refreshing type of deal. Okay, but that does not say that I don't like Japanese cars or anything like that. As a matter of fact, if I buy this Q50, I'll probably just use the idea that I have like a good daily driver as a reason to buy another Japanese car, because that's how much I love Japanese cars. The older Japanese cars are awesome, but just daily driving them isn't. But anyway, I know I wasted 5 minutes of your time here at the end, but I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. Let me know what you guys think, what I should do for my next car. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.